As a moving business owner, your day starts with a plan. But what happens when your movers don't show and that plan falls apart? Last minute no-shows. You're left to bootstrap, jumping in as an extra body. Yet sometimes, even that's not enough. This isn't just a disruption, it's a barrier to your business growth. Introducing Moving Force, your on-demand moving team. With Moving Force, say goodbye to no-shows and hello to peace of mind. With reliable, on-demand staff ensures you're never undermanned, turning your operational nightmares into a thing of the past. Moving Force, where every day is moving day and every move is smooth. Empower your business and keep growing without missing a beat. Join Moving Force today and move forward with confidence.
Welcome to another episode of Mornings with Movers. You got myself, Dwyght Mack, with Moving Force. We got Ryan Marsh with SuperMove, and we out here just making moves. So, how's everything? How's everybody doing? I know the season has not been the way y'all expected it for a lot of you. We just got to go back to the drawing board. We got to adjust to the economy and pretty much make sure that we have the guys available when we need the guys available when this work actually starts to turn around. And that's where Moving Force comes in. But we'll let Ryan kick it off a little bit and make sure, he's good over on his end.
No, man, everything's great. I'm hitting the road here. I got 2 more days at home, and I'll be back on the summer tour. So it was a nice little break from that. But everything that we're seeing, man, is companies are busy. Like I'm seeing the kind of the oppo of what you mentioned earlier. I mean, everybody's calendars are full. Trucks are in motion. People are bringing on additional folks. But again, different markets, different spaces. The entire Northeast, all the way down into the Carolinas at this point, are absolutely cranking from what we've personally seen.
Okay.
Still got a ways to go, though. So I'm jumping back in Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and New Orleans. So we'll see what it's like once we get down there. Are these companies in that market? Is it as hot as every place we've been so far, or not? But
yeah. So again, it comes down to, are you blocking your schedules? Are you just not seeing the work that you're seeing? And again, maybe we're talking about the smaller guys, and there's no offense to being the small guy versus a big guy. At the end of the day, you are in your lane. Run your own race, run your own marathon, and don't look at everybody else as competition per se, because not everybody is competition. It's such a fragmented industry that everybody's at different levels of their journey. So you competing with, if you're a 5 trucker and you're competing with a 3 trucker, that may not be too far off, but you're a 5 trucker and you're competing with a 20 trucker, that's far off, So just make sure you stay in your lane. You have what you consider to be your competition. And, obviously, of course, it's going to be friendly competition. At the end of the day, customers are not 100% of customers will not go with you specifically over your competitors, because it's just going to be some competitive edge, whether it's a slight price difference, whether it's a slight, oh, well, we're comfortable with that owner or those sales reps. So don't expect that every customer is going to go with you versus your competitors. But definitely keep your crews ready. And if you don't want to, if I've heard in the past that people have struggled with keeping movers on the books because they're like, oh man, I can't afford payroll, or we just don't have the work for them. So it's just mentally depressing us that we can't keep them actively working. Well, that's where Moving Force comes in the building as well. Moving Force can be your on-demand team. These guys aren't, tied to you by any means. No emotional ties, no tie at all. So at the end of the day, whenever you guys need that extra help, same day, next day, you plan it, whatever the case may be, these guys can continue to make sure that your schedule is filled, and you don't have to sit here and, again, stretch your guys thin. Just let the work keep coming in. So don't slow down the flow. Never slow down the pipeline if you can prevent it. Just keep that door open and let those jobs keep flowing in, and just make sure you got the guys to get the job done. So, but the topic for today, and we've visited this topic in the past, but never, never, what is it called? You can always revisit it again. And this topic is going to be to prevent no call, no shows. So we have like five tips for you guys. And then let Ryan chip in on this because I know he always got those valuable gems. So tip number one, lock in schedules 48 hours out. Give your movers notice, structure, clarity, scheduling at least 2 days in advance, set expectations early, give them time to commit. If you're scrambling the night before, you're already behind.
When your team isn't trained, mistakes happen. Jobs go wrong. Customers complain. And your business? It suffers. At Max Moving Training, we help moving companies like yours build strong, reliable teams from the inside out. From mover and driver training to sales, operations, marketing, and leadership, we give your people the skills to succeed. When everyone is trained, everything runs smoother and your business grows stronger. Training isn't optional. It's essential. Stop guessing. Start training. Join Max Moving Training today.
What's your take on that, Ryan?
And I've always been a big fan of giving the crews the information as far in advance as we can. So our crews, again, everybody does it different. Everybody has their own philosophy, whatever works for them, right? But we were about 2 weeks out. Everybody knew their schedule 2 weeks out, right? Because we were booked 90 days out. So we found that the longer we could give the guys notice of what they're going to be doing, where they're going to be traveling, is it a local, is it warehouse work, are they going away for a couple days, the better off that they could plan with their families, they could plan with their kids, they could plan, they could actually plan rather than, the night before finding out, oh shoot, I'm taking a trip out of town. But no, I'm with you, man. The more you can give these guys notice, I think the better off you'll be. But the overarching piece, I think, is the culture aspect.
Okay.
If you have a bunch of no call, no shows, your team does not respect you, or you've just got wrong players in the wrong seat, is what I would say. We used to have a ton of no call, no shows, and as you know, what we found out is those no call, no shows would happen on a Thursday and a Friday because we put Dwyght Mack on 3 back-to-back 10, 12,000 pound local moves. So no shit, Dwyght called in on Thursday because he's whooped, he's beat. Or he just didn't call in, didn't show. But I think I think we literally had an episode on this entire piece not too long ago, I feel like.
As far as fast as time flies,
It's crazy.
it's actually been a long while though. All right, so number two, enforce a no ghosting policy. Kind of what Ryan kind of hit on. But make it mandatory. If they can't make it, they must call in. No text, no silence, no surprises. It's not harsh, it's professionalism. Communicate that showing up or showing respect is the standard.
Let's get back to the cultural aspect. If you don't respect the guys, you can't expect the guys to respect you.
So don't lead with an iron sword saying, hey, do it my way, or you out the door. Yes, you are the leader. You are the owner. You can do whatever you want, essentially. But by leading with an iron fist or iron sword, it just leads to, are you getting the buy-in? Are you getting the respect that you deserve? Because you're telling them what to do versus accepting and getting a buy-in where it's like, hey, let's fix this together. What will make you, and it's weird because I know a lot of people want to rephrase it like this, but what would make you, what is the easier way for you to get into communication with us if you couldn't show up? And, have it as a group meeting. Don't do it as a one-off because obviously everybody has their opinions. And now when everybody buys into this group meeting, like, okay, hey, so we're going to enforce this policy saying that you guys can text us within 48 hours or within 24 hours, not within, but before 24 hours, that you guys have something going on. That's the expectation we're going to set. So going forward, we are all on the same page. And it's weird because, some people will lead with an iron fist and say, they better text me. And you kind of get the results you get, I guess.
And if that whole leading with the iron fist and the whole pounding on yelling and yelling versus telling and telling, but that's just such an old school approach. Like I grew up in that in the industry where basically it was leading with the iron fist. It was just banging on desks, telling everybody what to do. But then that changed. We had an ownership team who led from behind, whose main goal was to remove obstacles from us in every different. So, you know, I'm a big fan of leading from behind, removing obstacles from my team and trying to make their job as easy as possible. But you'll never see me out in the forefront leading with a damn iron fist. You always see me from behind. Always, always.
All right. So number three, always plan for dropouts. Even with confirmation, build your bench. Keep a short list of backup movers on standby or lean on obviously moving force. So yeah, basically make sure you always have a backup bench. So that basically, like we used to have four teams going out typically, and each team consisted of three people. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Each team consisted of four people, one being a hybrid driver slash mover. And then there was a driver and then there was two movers. And one of them, whether it was the hybrid driver mover, was on backup or a mover was on backup or whatever the case is. And just by having that kind of rotation of having that flexibility, there was always somebody that, hey, if a driver called out, we got a driver. If a mover called out, we got a mover. So just having some sort of flexibility there where it wasn't just like we had movers on the back end ready to go, but we actually had a backup driver as well because hey, drivers can call out too. So that worked for us.
Are you in search of a side gig? Get ready to land the ultimate side hustle. Don't let this opportunity slip away. Join Moving Force as a mobile mover. Enjoy the freedom to set your own hours, earn excellent income, and be your own boss. Apply now! Download the app for free, available on the App Store. It's time to make a move, both figuratively and literally.
Yeah, so we were so big into the warehousing and storage and all of that we literally had a warehouse team that was comprised of movers. Basically, it was its own separate moving crew, right? Because again, we rotated our crews throughout. So, you might have a couple days on the road doing some locals, intras, inters, but then basically you would recycle that and there'd be a day or so where that same crew or mixture of that crew would be in the warehouse for a day, because we constantly had a ton of storage coming in and constantly had a ton of product going out. So in the event that we did have a driver or a crew member or some sort of something happen, even a truck breakdown, we always had that backup crew basically in the warehouse, was ready to go at a drop of a bucket. And if they didn't get called on, great. We still had a ton of work to do in the warehouse. So we never really just had crews hanging out or hanging around, or we never had crews just waiting by their phones because, we had other work for them to do within the organization.
Yeah, no, and that's smart because at the end of the day, it's not wasted dollars. Now, kind of like the approach I did, it definitely was wasted dollars in a sense because it was just on a contingency that hopefully somebody came. If they didn't come, then hey, that person that did come, well, no, sorry, if they did come and that person that was on backup showed up as well, okay, well, now we're going to pay that person just for showing up. Again, wasted dollars, but it was almost like, what is the cost of if somebody didn't show up?
Yeah, I mean, same thing. If a guy shows up late, right? Like, if you're gonna be late and you let us know, great. We can operate with that. But I can tell you there was a short period of time where guys would show up 15, 20, 30 minutes late, which is holding up the other crew, which is holding up the customer, which is what? Costing the company a significant amount of money. So if you were behind, didn't let anybody know, you just got swapped out in the quickness. And by the time you showed up, you were probably going home that day.
And that's the same way we did it, where it was like we gave them maybe like 10 minutes after the hour. And if they didn't show up, that pretty much that backup was going out. And if they showed up maybe like 12 minutes after the hour or whatever the case is, like, hey, unfortunately, you showed up late. You know the rule. We set the precedents. You got 10 minutes to show up. Or even if you gave us a call to say, hey, I'm on my way, we can work with you. But Don't tell us 10 minutes after the fact that you're on your way. And, so obviously we just try to lead very firm with once we set the expectation is like, hey, it's 10 minutes, not 11 minutes, you know.
Yeah, I mean, this tied into if you wanted to hit your, your performance-based pieces and get your additional bonuses, this was one of the check the boxes that you had to have. You had to be on time, right? If you're on time the entire month, you're going to get your bonus. But if you're late or you don't show up in your uniform or whatever the case may be, that would have an impact on the particular person's pay. So again, we went from ton of call outs, not even call outs, just no shows because there was no respect to call us. It was so crazy. To people literally like we didn't have to really worry about anybody not showing or showing up late or out of uniform or showing up hungover, any of that stuff like we've all kind of experienced. So, but again, I tie that all back into the adjustment and the culture that we made quite a few years prior to that. That was the biggest, I would say, the biggest standout piece to me was when we adjusted our culture. That's when we had the buy-in from the team. That's when all this nonsense stopped. And that's where we became a really, really well-oiled machine.
Mm-hmm. Um, so the number four, never stop recruiting. The industry is too unpredictable to coast. Keep new faces in the pipeline and build a workforce that's deep, not just wide. Fresh talent keeps your core crew from burning out. So again, whether you're implementing moving force into your workforce or you are doing it yourself and you're keeping your crews constantly rotated. Never like don't think, okay, hey, I need more crews. Think, how can I be efficient within the crew that I currently have? Prime example, like I mentioned earlier, where it's like, hey, we had a hybrid driver slash mover. So we were four deep on a team. Worst case scenario, we have a four-man job that requires two trucks. We don't have to break that crew up and get somebody that they don't regularly work with. This whole four-man crew, hey, you're a hybrid driver. You can go out and be a driver today for the second unit. And basically now everybody works together. They've been working together. They know how to lift. They understand each other and they have that rapport. So now if they're A team or hopefully a B team, no less than that, they're going to get that review that you expected going out on that job and less damages.
Oh.
But if you have to mix the crews with another driver from another crew, they may not exactly get along with your crew. Your guys that's on that crew, and the lifting may be off. They may be arguing on the job, complaining to admin that they don't really like working with that crew or that crew leader. All types of problems. What's your take, Ryan?
Now, again, I'm tying it back into the culture piece. If we have a bad apple in the bunch, and we learned this the hard way, there was a reason why when we had a particular crew lead or a driver, why was his crew calling off, no call, no show, whatever. We had a bad apple, right? So, I mean, and it sucked. It was hard, but we had to eliminate the bad apples in the bunch because as we know, cancer spreads. You have one of those cancer folks, that's a terrible word to use, but you have one of those folks, I would say, in your team that nobody wants to work around or be around. Why is he on your team? I don't care how good of a driver he may be or labor he may be. If nobody wants to work with the person, what's he doing on your team?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just asking the question, I guess.
All right, guys, my name is Brandon. I'm with Max Move Management, and here's 11 steps on how to have a perfect move. The first one, the office should call or your dispatcher should call the customer 2 days prior to arrival. The reason for this is just in case the customer has a closing on the house, maybe they weren't able to secure, a babysitter for the child or a pet sitter. You definitely want to call 2 days in advance. This helps the customer be prepared and you make sure that you as well know that you're going to a customer that's also prepared. 2, the crew should also call the customer prior to arrival to the home. After the guys have already geared up, you got all your equipment in your truck, you got your address punched into your GPS, go ahead and either the driver or the helper, give the customer a call or a quick text, let them know that you're en route to your location and provide them with the ETA. This also sets the expectation for the customer to be back home just in case they want to drop their kids off to school. For the third one, look to keep the customer happy, break the ice in the beginning. So pretty much this means when you walk up to the house, knock on the door with your best mannerism that your mother taught you or father, you knock on the door, introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Brandon. I'm the foreman. This is my helper. And you introduce the team that you have with you.
No, that
I
makes
look at
sense.
the
And it's weird because, like you said, like I mentioned recently, where it's like, let's say team lead two goes on team one for the day because there's a 4-man 2 truck job and they need that extra driver, and maybe that crew has worked with that guy, that team two driver before, and they just don't like the way he moves or whatever the case is. So again, it just causes complaints, but then it almost seems like is it team one that just don't like him, or is it really something wrong with that driver? And maybe team two just goes with it because they just know that there's this.
maybe it comes down to like the standards of how these guys operate. Does team one operate different than team two? Do they go by a different set of rules? Do they wrap and pad furniture differently than is there a standardization across your organization where every crew does everything the same way? Or is your company one of the ones where, hey, Dwight and his team, they pad, wrap, and do it this way. And Ryan and his team, they pad, wrap, and do it this way. So if someone from Ryan's crew goes to Dwight's crew, he don't like how Dwight operates. So again, that comes back down to kind of standardizing, you know, your
Yeah,
processes of what you do and how you do it.
I could definitely say I had a different standard. Like as much as I set the tone for my guys to like, hey, this is the standard. We're gonna make sure we wrap everything in the house before we bring it out, so that basically, hey, that stage is done. So now, only thing we got to focus on is just getting everything in the truck and playing Tetris. But the next step was let's work furniture in. Well, let's get the miscellaneous in first, and then let's work furniture in, and then work the boxes in each tier. Not, oh, let's have 2 to 3 tiers of boxes, and then now let's get the furniture. And I think like a lot of my guys would despise that. We're like, oh, what do you mean? We got 200 boxes. Let's get these boxes out the way and then let's work the furniture. And I'm just like, guys, it's gonna be okay. If we get the furniture and worst case scenario, there's boxes left, the customer may not necessarily be mad because maybe they just had too many boxes. But if you leave furniture behind, that's something that the customer may feel some kind of way about, like, I absolutely have to get a truck now because it's furniture. Whereas boxes, they may be able to throw in their car or their pickup truck and make it work if they don't want to pay anything extra. But
It's no worse feeling than having an overflow. That's for sure. Overflow
yeah,
sucks.
and definitely having to make 2 trips when you pretty much came. I would like to think you came prepared with a 26-foot truck. You were ready to go. We did the inventory and everything, and they just have way more boxes than
This
expected.
stuff, it never happens locally. It always happens on a big intra or interstate where your guys are 2, 3, 4 hours away. So it's like, ain't like you can just drop and go and then come back. Every time we had something like that happen, it was always outside of a local move, I felt like. But
Oh,
also, again, back into your process and policy, what have you, is, we check in. We'd make sure if I estimated 150 boxes, we would check in and make sure that there was about 150 boxes. What we knew once we got over that 7,000 pound mark, hey, we're probably looking at a additional truck on this particular move. So, we definitely sold a lot of moves that way. If a customer was price conscious or this or that, it was like, hey, I can basically sell you this truck. What fits goes. If it fits, it ships. If it doesn't, you're responsible. Plenty of those. And we were upfront and honest with them. And some customers were like, hey, no, I need it all to go. I don't want to play the it fits, it ships game. And we had others that were very, very thankful. Like, okay, we're going to prioritize. I want all this stuff first. And then obviously we let them know as the truck was getting fuller, they could see it as well to add additional pieces to it. But
so all right, y'all. So step 5, build a culture. Build a culture people don't want to leave. A positive culture isn't fluff; it's fuel. Recognize the reliable ones. Celebrate the grinders. When movers feel seen, safe, and supported, they show up. Happy teams don't ghost you. That just goes back to what Ryan's been saying. Build that culture. Make sure that obviously it's top down culture. What you expect, what you're willing to do. Have a little bend to your sword. at the end of the day, because basically if you're not willing to bend backwards a little bit for your guys, then at the end of the day, will they be willing to bend for you? And you got to think of it as a two-way street. At the end of the day, oh, well, I expect you guys to be here. If you're gonna call out, or whatever case is, but let us know in advance. And then they actually call out, and you're like, well, hey, I actually need you today. Well, no, you told me to call out if I couldn't make it. I can't make it. And it's kind of like you're leading with an iron sword, so you're gonna get the results that you're gonna get, and your guys aren't going to bend for you when you really need them because of the type of culture that you're embedded. So give a little bit. Understand that, hey, things pop up. They'll understand that, hey, things pop up in businesses as well. And they'll figure a way, oh, you know what? I could probably move this around here. I really want to help you out. I don't want to leave you guys in a situation today, because they see that you bend for them, and likely sometimes they will bend for you. But again, it's all about, are they a good apple, or are they just a bad apple? And if they're a bad apple in general, it's time to let them go, because at the end of the day, they're just going to ruin it for the rest.
And the old famous line, you got to inspect what you expect. And I think that's something that we all need to do on a daily basis. If we expect our crews to do A, B, and C, we need to inspect that our crews are doing A, B, and C. And it's something that we kind of lived and died by back in my old moving days. Inspect what you expect every single day.
Yeah. So at the end of this video, because obviously now it's amazing. Actually we're keeping these podcasts really low versus doing a whole hour. So at the end of this video, when you guys see this recap, ultimately, I'll have a little something on how to create employee buy-in, and check it out. Share your thoughts, and yeah, let us help you. If you need additional help from a leadership standpoint, Max Moving Training is the company to go to that can help you with your leadership, your marketing, whatever it is. If you guys are not as busy as you are supposed to be this summer, let's look into that, because there is a reason why. And from talking to a lot of moving company owners over the last couple of weeks, the reason why, from what I've been hearing, is they've cut their marketing. They're not using enough marketing. And I think those are the main two things, is they shut off the valve.
I
And
I try to keep the damn thing simple. To me, it's kind of not a two-way street here, but a two. Gosh, I'm having a hard time thinking here. But it's dark, it's raining, it's a lot cooler. What was I? Damn it, I lost my whole train of thought. But no, I did not. Here it goes. Man, it's a bad morning for me, I'll tell you. I don't know if I think I'm coming down with a little sickness here, but if you're getting the opportunity, the leads, the at-bats, or what have you, and you're not that busy, to me, it's a sales process piece. If you're not getting the opportunities, you're not getting the at-bats, you're not getting, your phone's not ringing, the emails aren't coming through, that's a marketing piece to me. You're not doing something in that aspect. So to me, it's pretty simple. If the phones are ringing off the hook, you're getting opportunities, but you're still not that busy, and your trucks still aren't running, you need to tweak that sales process. You're leaking pretty heavily there. And on the flip side, if you're not getting those opportunities, you better tighten down your SEO, your marketing, all of that fun stuff. So try to simplify it and keep it easy.
And no, you guys necessarily, some of you guys are not marketers. We already at 100% know that part. But what you do need to do as a leader or owner of your company is inspect your marketing. Make sure you have a CRM or some sort of report that has a proper marketing ROI tracker. And with that marketing ROI tracker, you want to see, what are your benchmarks? Make sure you know your benchmarks, because if you don't know your benchmarks, you don't know what you're really looking at. You just see numbers. So understand, like, okay, well, hey, we used to say marketing leads shouldn't marketing spend shouldn't be more than 7 to 10% of your budget. So are you spending more than 7 to 10% of your total revenue earned that month on marketing? Meaning that if you're spending more than 7 to 10% on marketing and you're not getting that type of revenue return, that means either one, the marketing leads aren't that good. Two, your sales process is questionable at that point. Or again, It's one of the two. So now you have to dial in. Let me call that marketing source that's really causing me to be that high because obviously you're going to look at a group of marketing sources and you're going to say, well, hey, this group of marketing sources is causing me to be at 12%. What is the one that's the highest right now that's probably causing me to be over that 2%? Call that marketing source, say, hey, can we change it up? Can we tweak it? Can we, instead of getting all leads, can we just get maybe 2 bedrooms to 4 bedrooms? Can we, instead of being over covering 15 counties as a radius, can we cover 10 counties? Because maybe because we're covering so far out, our travel fee is causing the price to be so high that we're having to, customers are turning us away. So it's a whole different kind of concept when you actually start to dial in what it is that is causing you to lose the job. And it could be your market, it could be your sales, but we don't know which one it is. So you have to start from somewhere. And I wouldn't say necessarily jump on sales, but if you have a report in your CRM that tells you why customers are turning you away, price too high, whatever other reasons, there's like 8,000 reasons. Went with another moving company, whatever. You have to figure out what that reason is directly related to. What is the root cause of that issue for the no booking? And that goes back into whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, and it just goes into a big, big loop. So that's my piece. Right.
Yeah, you got to test multiple channels, but you're spot on with the tracking aspect because if you're throwing 7 to 10% at 4, 5, 6 different channels, like you need to know which ones are performing. So if I'm spending just say X on Facebook's, X on PPC, and X on what have you, I'm going to be tracking to a T where my leads are coming from. And if I'm not getting enough from Facebook, but PPC is working really, really well, I'm probably going to double down on PPC or vice versa. If Facebook, I'm killing it, that's where my leads are coming from, but the PPC is not doing that well and a couple other different lines aren't doing that well, I'm going to go ahead and reposition those funds into the ones that are absolutely doing it. So I feel like it's something that you kind of constantly have to kind of watch and be on top of, and because I'm sure those sources are going to change throughout the year, throughout the season. But you got to test multiple channels and see what works in your particular market, because I know what worked in our market did not work on the West Coast. What worked down south sure as hell didn't work in the Northeast. So, but you got to dial those things in, and without having proper tracking, and this is where Travis does a great job over at Rotate Digital with truly breaking it down to where those leads are coming, I mean, to a T, and not just, Google, but even deeper than that. So got to stay on top.
All right, y'all. So we are at the top of the episode. Definitely check out Moving Force whenever you guys can. We are working with companies exclusively, making sure the prices are right, making sure we can deliver over the top service. So definitely reach out to us. Phone number 315-557-4749. And we'll love to speak to you when you get a chance. But other than that, you guys keep going out there, crushing it. We got this last month right now of the busy season, so let's make sure we definitely optimize whatever we need to optimize so that we can perform. Ryan, anything on your end before we head up?
I was glad it's cool, man. After this heat wave of 90 plus degrees, having a broken air conditioner in the house, it's nice to have a cool day. But no, just keep grinding. Keep on grinding, stay the course. August is here, which is so crazy. I can't believe peak is, I don't want to say almost over by any means, because a lot of times peak for us ran into September and even in a couple weeks into October. And I think that's going to be the case this year. I feel like it was a little bit delayed of a peak season where it didn't necessarily all land in May. So I think there's a lot of opportunity out there left to capture a lot of moves, August, September, and even in October.
All right, y'all. Y'all heard it first. So y'all keep crushing it. We'll talk to y'all later. All right. Now I got to turn my head around.
Oh, see?
But
You still
no.
recording?
So James ended up sending me no, we stopped recording.
The show's recording up.